What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 482 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events and news and rumors and gossip and other things over the past few days that have happened in the world of pro wrestling. I'm Tony Mango. I've got with me Robert DeFelice.
Tony, we are 2 months down. This is the last Hot Tags of February 2021. What do you think?
It feels like it's yesterday that the beginning of the year started. It feels like it's yesterday that the pandemic started. It feels like it's been 10 years.
Well, happy anniversary.
Should we do a whole pandemic special and the lessons we've learned to completely throw out and not actually learn anything like everybody else in the world?
All of them.
Hopefully you guys have been staying safe and everything. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying your week. It's Friday night, almost Saturday morning. We're going to run down a bunch of stuff here. We're going to talk about things because that's the hot tags. That's what a podcast is. When we talk about things and you listen. So we'll talk, you listen. But we also want to know what you have to say. So drop a comment below on whatever platform you're listening to us. If it happens to be on YouTube, then while you're over there, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done that already, ring that little notification bell, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the applause button, hit the join button. That is the same as the Patreon. And if you want to help us out with your spare change, just open up your wallets on the Patreon side of things. Go to patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. Check out the different tiers that we have there, including the Dark Cast, which are the $10 and up tiers. They are Patreon exclusive episodes. But if you join on YouTube, then you'll be able to listen to the same because it's the same sort of thing. Not going to charge people twice for that. And there's the Pick Your Poison tier, which we've done plenty of different things in the past of wide varieties. Most recent one being the Starcade fan announce table. Check that out if you're interested in that. Stay tuned for more stuff that's happening when it comes to that. We're going to do a Dark Cast probably this weekend, where we're going to try to do some kind of a mock draft for TNA. So if you're interested in that, check it out on the Patreon. Just to get some other plugs out of the way, another way for you to help us out on the monetary side of things is the merchandise shops. We've got the TeePublic and the Redbubble for Smark Out Moment, A Mango Tees, and Fanboys Anonymous. And if you are interested in what is happening over on fanboysanonymous.com, well, go over to fanboysanonymous.com and you'll see. One of the things that we do every week lately, and we're going to continue doing it going forward, is the James Bond film franchise breakdown called A Review to a Kill. And if you are a Bond fan, you want to start getting into that, go ahead and check that out. All the way up to, I think, Thunderball's most recent one that we've done. Maybe You Only Live Twice. I think that might have been started today or so. Yeah, check it out. We've also got the Smark Madness tournament. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. And some other stuff. I'll plug, I don't know, midway through, at the end, etc., etc. You guys are going to be waiting on the edge of your seats for the plugs, I know. But I'm going to talk about a couple things here. Some things we touched a little bit about, and we're going to kind of round out our thoughts. Like, for instance, the largest recruit class for the WWE Performance Center. WWE finally put that out there, even though it's been like 4 weeks, I think, at this point, that some of these names have been signed and spoken for and everything. So we have talked about, for instance, Parker Boudreaux, the one who looks like Brock Lesnar. We don't really know too much about him except for he looks like Brock Lesnar. There are some other.
It's stupid how interested I am in him just because he looks like Brock Lesnar.
But I mean, he looks like Brock Lesnar. Like, he looks like if you were casting Brock Lesnar in a movie, you'd cast this guy. If you'd said that this was his son, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. This is,
if you were doing Dark Side of the Ring Brock Lesnar, Parker's playing Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So we don't know what he has like capable of doing great or, whatever. But we do know some of the other names. We've talked in the past about Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan because they've wrestled multiple matches at this point. Zoe Stark has wrestled multiple matches, so they just waited to do that. I guess because that way they could do this whole largest ever, that kind of thing, instead of here's a little group and here's another little group. But we have some other names too. We talked about LA Knight as well.
Eli Drake.
Bronson Rex Steiner. Did we talk about Rick Steiner's kid last week?
I'll say it again. I don't know if we did or not, but fucking Steiner. I think we might have because we said Frank and Steiner. I don't know if we said that on or off air.
It might have been on air. I don't remember. But Frank, and then middle name starts with an N, Steiner. Frank N. Steiner would totally be the best thing. I hope that they go in that direction.
I'm excited. I just want to see people get thrown around.
He looks big. You know, dude's 6 foot tall, 230 pounds.
So he's a fucking Steiner.
Yep. We got confirmation about Taya Valkyrie.
She was looking forward to 2021. Told me herself.
So that's good. You know, see what she's up to in NXT going forward.
She should skip. She really needs to fucking skip NXT.
Maybe she'll have one of those quicker kind of runs, you know?
Yeah.
That was supposed to happen with Mercedes, it seemed, and then she was like, yeah, actually, can I not be a part of this awful Retribution stable and go back down to NXT? We talked about AQA, or
Aqua.
Angela Arnold is her name.
Barbie girl. Oh, sorry.
Good song, though. Anthony Henry.
Hell yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen just the one match of his where he was on the Evolve show. Chance Barrow, otherwise known as Harlem Bravado, which I'm pretty sure the only one I've seen of him was the Evolve thing. Teresa Serrano, that's Zoe Stark. Christian Brigham, otherwise known as Christian Casanova. Blake Christian is who is he on here? Christian Hubble, because there's multiple Christians all over the place on here. I think it was the same, yeah.
Blake Christian needs to just go right up to NXT. He's NXT ready. He flips, he kicks, he dives. He was a little scruffy looking. He's currently dating Cora Jade. And that's about all you need to know.
Yeah, Jacob Casper's brother, Drew Casper. I still don't really know anything about Jacob Casper, so yeah.
Is he a friendly ghost?
We were talking before we started recording about like different things about McDonald's and whatever, about one of them being Pizza Hut from when I was a kid and how much I loved getting like a personal pizza going inside of Pizza Hut, whatever. And now when you said Casper the Friendly Ghost, I immediately flashback in my head about being at Pizza Hut and getting the free little Casper toy because the movie had just came out. It was like a glow in the dark ghost or something. And now I really want Pizza Hut. You know?
Pizza Hut's awful.
I love Pizza Hut.
All chain pizzas are awful. And the love that you're feeling is pure nostalgia.
No, it's still just like if I want buttery bread with like some cheese on top, you know, it's
make it at home.
I don't have the pan.
I'm gonna get you one.
Drop a comment below. Tell us Pizza Hut, yay or nay. And if you say yay, you get extra points. If you agree with me. I don't know what the points are for, but you can cash in the points for a no prize, which Stanley used to give out. We got a Matrick Belton.
That's what a name.
I thought I typed it wrong the first time. I was like, I typed Matrick instead of Patrick. And I'm like, nope, typed it right. He's a Division I football player from the University of South Carolina, so he's not somebody who's like, oh yeah, great in-ring work at this such and such, but he's trained in the CZW Academy, so it's a thing. We got Cameron Clay, otherwise known as Cameron Brené. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. She's a 4-year wrestler who has fought with Shotzi Blackheart in some fashion. We got Joe Areola. He is definitely changing his name.
You're a child. That's
He's a 25-year-old amateur wrestler from Oak Park, Illinois. We've got Carissa Rivera, who was Bobby Lashley's quote-unquote first wife, but not, in real. She's her kayfabe first wife with that whole Lana angle. And Avery Taylor. From Evolve and Shine. I don't know anything about her, but she seems pretty confident. I think I've heard the name before, so maybe that's a good thing. What do you think about this class? Do you think there's any real big standouts that you're like, okay, that one's actually going to really go far from obviously we haven't seen anything from most of these people, but
this in a lot of ways may be the most professionally ready class outside of like a complete anomaly like Parker Boudreaux, who hasn't done no wrestling. Like Blake Christian, Christian Casanova, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Zoe Stark are all completely ready to go now.
Taya Valkyrie and
Taya Valkyrie could main event Mania, and I mean that. Like that's how on the level she is for women's wrestling. And so like this is gonna be an interesting class to keep an eye on. Cause maybe it's all smoke and mirrors, but maybe it's gonna be the greatest class they've produced.
I'm excited. Anytime that they announce any kind of a class, I'm excited because either I know them and they're somebody that I'm like, oh, cool, like they're in WWE now, or I don't know them and oh, cool, maybe they're great. Because I mean, there's been instances in the past where it's like Samoa Joe is in WWE, and I'm like, fuck yeah, like I love Samoa Joe's great. I've always wanted him to come in WWE. And there's other times where it's like, hey, brand new to NXT, it's Kyle O'Reilly, and I'm like, who the fuck's this? And then he ends up being amazing. And you're like, dude, this Kyle O'Reilly guy that everybody knew ahead of time except for me. Like, how great, you know? And everybody's like, yeah, did you check out his ROH stuff? And I'm like, no. So, you know, I mean, I'm still waiting for some people. Like, every class, I'm always like, is this going to be the one where they sign? And then I have a couple people in my head. And then I'm like, oh, man, still not. Like, some of them are signed elsewhere. Some of them are kind of hooked up in contracts or something, but I'm always like, for instance, when's Mike Orlando coming in? When's Brian Johnson coming in?
How has Mike Orlando not landed a full-time TV deal?
I don't know. I don't get it with AEW or with
Impact or Ring of Honor. Like this dude is good. He's ready to go. Shout out to the Green Machine.
Yeah, I mean, you check out his well, I'm connected with him on Facebook, but it's like he's motivated as all hell. Like he's always just sort of like, yeah.
And he's like a professional's professional. He should be at least an Impact.
At the very least. I've told him that before. I'm like, dude, what the hell? What like, you know, just kind of tell them to get off their ass and sign some kind of contracts or something. But
Brian Johnson just re-signed with Ring of Honor.
Yeah, Brian's so good.
Yeah, but he's really into that like pure wrestling scene. He does good in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So anytime that there's a big class and I don't see those names, I am disappointed. I'm like, you know, I should have a list of like 10 people that I could just be like, Ike, come on, Ike. You know.
I admit, every class kind of go, where's this Samoan? Why haven't we why isn't Sean Maluda?
Sean Maluda. Like, what is happening with Sean Maluda? I knew we were going to go in that direction because it's true. I think we've had this discussion maybe like 6 times where we're like, dude, Sean Maluda. Like, this guy pops up all over the place. And every company is like, man, thanks for coming in. See ya. Like, what the hell? Sign the guy.
Major League Wrestling got a golden goose in Jacob Fatu. And how this guy isn't the heavy for Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, I don't fucking know.
What's the status with D.H. Smith? Harry Smith. What's he going by now? He's going by David Boy Smith Jr. now?
Yeah, he's David Boy Smith Jr. He should also be in NXT at least. He said he wants to go back to WWE.
So I guess it's just like a contract thing or something?
Yeah, maybe it's still waiting thing.
Yeah. Speaking of waiting, Thea Trinidad was talked about by Tony Khan, who had said, isn't she on a 90-day no-compete? Well, we'll talk to her afterward, essentially.
The 90-day no-compete ended this month, sir.
Well, I am fully convinced that she is going to AEW at some point. Not only is she great, and not only is she somebody that they can use to really help with that women's division, but I mean, that's kind of confirmation a little bit right there, where he's just sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, we want to talk to her. Instead of being like, well, we don't really have any interest in so-and-so, or, oh, we can't bring everybody in, or, you know what I mean, where it would have been a little bit more dismissive if it's sort of like, oh, yeah, Zelina Vega's great, then why wouldn't you bring her in?
All right, you mentioned Tony Khan. Let's just go right here. Tony Khan has said that by the end of this year, AEW will have 4 weekly programs.
One of them being AEW Dark Elevation, which we know is going to have commentary with a Big Show, which we're going to lump all this all together.
But before we get there, because we know that there's still going to be an A-tier show on TNT.
Mm-hmm.
I will give this man all the credit in the world, though. He did legit say, you don't got to watch all of it. He's like...
Oh, he said that?
He said, listen, majority of people will be just fine keeping up with everything through Dark and the pay-per-view. I mean, through Dynamite and the pay-per-views.
I was going to say, holy shit, is Dark going to become the, I mean, it already is the longest show, but still.
I was like, yep, I respect that.
So he's still being coy about that, which at this point, I think we have an idea of at least what some of the stuff is going to be. So Dynamite's the flagship show. Dynamite is Monday Night Raw.
Right.
AEW Dark is right now SmackDown, but it's essentially going to be main event. It's just going to be extra matches recorded ahead of time. Maybe not as long as what it is, because they're going to have AEW Dark Elevation, which does seem like, with the name Elevation, it's pretty much gotta be their NXT.
Right, but there's some confusion there. Some people think that Elevation is going to be more of the top stars. I think Elevation is going to be for the total scrubs.
Me too. Like, that would be Aaron Solo against, not to like pick on anybody, but like Aaron Solo against Shawn Dean, where you're just sort of like, all right, like maybe Shawn Dean wins, maybe Aaron Solo wins, but they're on kind of an equal playing field, because if you had either of those against MJF, they're fucking losing to MJF.
So the most interesting thing about that press release was they stressed the show is in continuity with Dark and Dynamite. Does that mean the other show's not going to be in continuity with Dark and Dynamite?
Maybe it's not. Have they actually specified that the other show would be another wrestling show?
Tony Khan has stated in the past that he would fantasized about building it around the FTW title. Fantasize is the wrong word if you're listening to this, Tony.
That's what the F means, right?
Yes.
Fantasize Tony wrestling.
That was better than what I was going to say. Just move on.
Oh, now you got to know what you were going to say.
I was going to say, let's say I was going to say fantasize the women.
So maybe it's going to be more of like a promo-y type thing?
Could be.
Because at a certain point, too, how much wrestling can they really have for the output? Like WWE, they way overblow their output, and we're gonna get that new show, the NXT Evolve show, and whatever. And there's still no indication that they're just gonna get rid of 205 Live. But you know what? Then I mean, this is going into a different topic. But remember how that switch happened with ECW over to NXT, where they were like, "Oh, starting next week, ECW is going to be called NXT." Like,
suck it.
And I remember writing up reports, because I was writing stuff at that time, being like, does this mean that all the roster stays the same? And then when they started saying about like the, or it's going to be this competition stuff, I'm like, oh, well then what do you do as Yoshitatsu? Kind of like,
I'll tell you what you do. Action figure leg on a pole match.
Tony Khan, like, we're getting 4 shows. Dark, we know what it is. Dynamite, we know what it is. Dark Elevation, more than likely it is probably like an NXT type thing. If it's just another like AEW Dynamite 2.0 type of a thing and it's their SmackDown, I'm really curious what the hell they're going to call that.
Team Taz takes the world. I don't know. I really want this show to be on TBS, and I want it to be on Saturday night at 6:05. In fact, just call it the Mothership, okay? All you gotta do. I know you've gone far enough in the NWA, WCW stuff that I ain't gonna be mad at you if you just go, it's called the Mothership, and you don't need to know why. If you do, you do. And just do it.
So maybe since Dynamite is very close to Nitro, maybe this should be Thunder. Like some kind of very close thing like that. AEW Lightning.
It's the worst. If they called it Lightning, I would be offended. I really would. Like, Dynamite and Lightning? Really? Like, you couldn't just buy the rights to Nitro and Thunder, huh? You just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Or the like AEW Blunder, and it's the same font and everything. I'm not excited about AEW Dark Elevation, just because I feel like it's just going to be the same thing, and it's just going to be more stuff to watch that I'm not going to feel super excited to watch. But I am excited about Paul Wight being a part of that, and we talked a little bit about it, but we didn't talk too much because the previous thing that we did was Superstar Scores, so we were doing our scores. But for anybody who's been living under a rock, Paul Wight, part of AEW now, he is going to be on the commentary team with Tony Schiavone for AEW Dark Elevation and probably other stuff too. And he's going to wrestle. They've said that specifically.
He could still go.
Yeah, I see no reason why he couldn't do some spots here and there. It's not like he's going to wrestle once a week.
Fist fight last year, you remember that? Huh?
The fist fight? Oh, that's right. They labeled it a fist fight. That was
damn right they did.
Stupid as hell. But
hold on, let's go through this. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens are the captains of their team. Owens teamed with Joe and the Big Show. Rollins teamed with AOP. How many of these people are still wrestling for WWE?
Yep, 2.
This is the last
2 out of 6
year. That's crazy.
How many of those people are doing commentary now? 2 of them.
2.
How many of those people are just disappointed into the void?
So there you go. It's almost an even split. Now, granted, Joe has said recently that his in-ring career is not over. They're just being very, very, very cautious with the concussion stuff. I hate it. I think his career is over. I've seen way too many of these silent retirements.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Christian.
Yeah, Christian was, I'm not retired. And then like 8 years went by and it's like, oh, see, I told you I wasn't retired. And you're like, yeah, you were retired. And then you came back.
They made Paige make an announcement, but she was out for a while beforehand. Yeah, they do too many of these silent retirements. I hope that Joe isn't done, but I think he is.
Yeah, I hope he's not done. At least to do a little bit of a run to finish things off. I still think he should have been a world champion. I still think he should have been champion during that time that Brock Lesnar was, you know.
Yeah, I think he should have beaten AJ Styles.
I'd have been down for that.
And they should have had a Hell in a Cell match. Listen, I know it's not 2018. Fuck off. They should have had a Hell in a Cell match. All right? Like, there's no reason why not.
The Big Show being a part of, well, I should keep saying Big Show, but I should be calling him Paul Wight because he's not going to be Big Show. He's Big Show forever. It would be so funny though if they tried to give him some. Thankfully, what AEW does, what they don't do, I should say, that TNA did, was TNA would try to name things basically like as close as possible. So it'd be like, I don't know, somebody like Big Show comes in, they would call him like Big Paul, And he'd be like, "Oh,
my
come
God, they
on!"
totally.
Like,
Dixie Carter's husband would have totally produced a "Well, it's Big Paul."
yeah, it would have been like, "Well, Big Paul is here," or something like that. And they would have been like, "Oh, the show is stopping now because Big Paul Wight is here," and like it would have been awful. And
honestly, they need to call him Giant.
Giant Paul Wight. It just, well, it's Giant Paul. Like
Well, it's the big white. No.
it'd be great. Like do you remember the old Jake the Snake Roberts theme that just kept repeating, "Do you trust me?"
Yeah.
What if they just had like Paul Wight comes out and it's like, "Well," it's just like that the entire time. By the time he sits down on the commentary, that is, "Well," where you get, "Well."
It's Paul Wight.
It's silence. Kind of like a gong or something going off, but not the whole rest of the song. I'm excited to see what he has to do here. More reports have been coming out. Not really specific details about anything, but one thing had said people close to him thought that something like this was going to be happening because he had, quote, major life changes going on. That he had lost his Netflix show, that he had moved, the deal coming up. So I'm assuming that this is one of those things where Big Show got to a point where he was like, "You know what? My WWE stuff's not going anywhere. I'm spinning my wheels. The Netflix thing didn't take off the way that I was hoping that it would. Clearly at that point, you've had your show. It didn't work. Probably there's not going to be another offer, at least for a while, if ever, to have another show. You got to get back into wrestling if you want to still keep working. Probably has more than enough money that he doesn't need to, but he wants to give back. I don't blame him if that's the case.
Like Emma Watson to you?
Not in the slightest bit.
You don't get that, do you?
No.
Emma Watson recently stated that she's like, I have enough money. I'm retired. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what, though? Good for her.
Yeah.
If I were in her shoes, if I had enough money and I didn't want to be hounded by the paparazzi all the time and whatever, like, yeah, I see it. She settles down. She, I don't know, sips fucking lemonade on her porch all day. It doesn't matter. Like,
and she's earned that right.
So Big Show, though, it seems like he was just like, you know what? I want to hang out with the boys. I want to do stuff.
I think that's a wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like really, really hard to give it up. And you know what, though? When you look at, and Callum said this beautifully on the show on Wednesday, WWE never totally used him right.
Right.
They got too bogged down in the comedy shtick. I think he could have a really good final run in All Elite Wrestling. Fucking let I almost said Warhorse. Fucking let Wardlow throw him around. Put Wardlow over like that.
That's one of the questions I was going to ask you was, who is it on the roster that you're actually excited to see him have matches with?
I would say Wardlow.
There's Wardlow. There's Brian Cage, I think. I would like to see him against MJF because I would love to see what MJF can do with that kind of thing.
Marco Stunt.
Oh, yeah, you got to have Marco Stunt. If he's not picking up Marco Stunt and throwing him like 8 rows into the crowd, then something's wrong.
And then you have fucking Luchasaurus kill him.
Yeah, you got him. You got Lance Archer, another big dude. Maybe I'm not loving this idea, but if they do go in the direction of more goofy Big Show, you can pair him up with some other people that can have more comedy type stuff too. Like, I'd be interested to see what he could do with Orange Cassidy that they could do with like the funny side of pro wrestling.
I would be interested in him doing something with the Dark Order, and not just because he's been raising his hand like that for 20 years. I'd be interested in seeing him do something with your buddy there, Colorado. Nakamura could throw him around.
Yeah.
It'd be good. You know they're gonna do. They're gonna fucking put him in the ring with Anthony Go and like he'll never wrestle again.
Yeah. There's no indication of when Elevation starts, is there? They didn't say the release date.
They did. Monday,
they did?
March 15th.
When did they say that? I don't remember catching that.
On Dynamite.
It might have been like one of the things that when I was fast forwarding or something.
Yeah.
March 15th, you said?
Yep.
I have to write that down in my notes that I know that we can definitely cover that. Monday, March 15th, Elevation.
That's also the weekend that we'll be covering Fastlane.
Oof, yeah. We don't know too much about what's happening at Fastlane, but we'll talk about that when we talk about the TV stuff for this week. Another TV thing for this week to talk about, though, is Young Rock, episode 2. What'd you think?
Good. Based off of a real match. Or at least one of them was the Piper stuff. I like it. I'm not sure I'm gonna continue with like the weekly basis. This might become like a binging project.
It feels very bingey. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the show overall.
I like it, but I don't love it.
Right.
There are a few things that I think that they're doing really, really well, and a couple things that just don't feel like my style, I guess. This also doesn't feel like it's on that network to me. This feels like an ABC show. And
you know why?
Why is that?
Because Fresh Off the Boat was an ABC show, and it's very fresh off the boat.
There's a certain... The way that they film things on like CBS and NBC and ABC, they get into like... I don't know if maybe it's partially the cameras themselves that they use. Maybe it's some of the overarching producers or whatever, but there's a certain feel to some of those shows. You can usually tell the difference. And for this one, if you were to just show me this and say, what network is this? I'd be like, oh, it's ABC for sure. Whereas some other shows over the years like that, oh God, what was the name of that show? Kristen Milotti, the one who played the mother in How I Met Your Mother, she did a show for like one season, pretty much right after that.
God. Oh my! Oh,
I liked it. It went nowhere, but it was like they worked at 2 separate buildings or something. I forget like the name of the show. A to Z.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's what
why the hell do I remember that?
That's what I was thinking too. A to Z.
Why am I remembering A to Z in 2021? What? Now I gotta Google this. When the hell did this show come out? A to Z TV show.
2015.
It had to be. So this was 2014.
I knew it was after How I Met Your Mother. I didn't know it was immediately following the closing.
Starring Ben Feldman, the guy who I for a while thought was the one who was Drew McIntyre. Yeah, like that's a show that A to Z was an NBC show and didn't quite feel like an NBC show to me. So it's, I don't know, they're all over the place. Some people are sitting there going, why are you talking about this on the wrestling thing? It's Young Rock, that's why. Fanboysanonymous.com. So I liked, for instance, the way that they did the whole thing with he's having these flashbacks of these matches with Roddy Piper and with Ric Flair. And it's like 1, 2, and then it cuts to him being like, oh, and the people, and it's like, oh yeah, because he lost that match. Like, so they're not going to show the 3. I like that a lot, you know?
And he covered that on Twitter too. He's like, yeah, I get asked why a lot, because apparently Rocky Johnson, not a great dude. He's like, and I get asked why I always stick up for him and stuff like that a lot. And the answer is simple, because he's my dad. And I'm like, that's so pure in a time where I know it's very popular to say, well, even if they're family, you know, they're trash people, you have to disown them. And Rock is just like, that's my dad, you know?
It's weird. Like, I mean, he really comes off as the villain of the show.
He's supposed to, I think.
Yeah, and I did not expect that going into this. And I didn't know too much about any of these stories from Rocky Johnson, but it seems like there's real validity to it. And it's like, you know what? Like, I'd be pissed if I were The Rock and that was like how my dad was acting and whatever. But
like that's like I think they're gonna cover that because he did have a rocky, no pun intended, relationship with his father.
Like I like that. I liked that this episode didn't need to split the story into 3. Where it's like, you know, here's the story for me as a little kid, here's me as a teenager, and here's me as a college student, and they all tie in together in some fashion. It was like, no, here's the story about me as a teen. That's the story we're telling. Because that's one of the things that I was wary about. I thought that maybe they would split things up too much, and then they wouldn't be able to actually dive deep enough into the story for me to like sink your teeth into.
Right.
But they showed that they're just, you know, they're gonna bounce around here, so that's good. You know, if they got a story for him as a kid, they're going to tell the story of him as a kid. It's not going to be 3 minutes of that just so they can cram in the rest of it and kind of hurry along. I'm not digging the like... Karen all that much. Fine ass Karen, is that her name?
Yeah. I think that a lot of this is probably going to be like the reveal of he's my dad and I love him, but I learned over time that he's actually a piece of shit. Like, but I still love him. I think there's gonna be like a lot of those very real stories told, and that's good because I think we need those stories told.
His mom looks like a saint on the show, of course.
Well, his mom.
But then again, like it's probably true.
Like, yeah.
So it's like that's not too surprising. I liked it though. Like I liked it. I didn't love it. There were moments that I laughed. There were moments that I was just sort of like, this is a little bit too stereotypical, and we could just move on here. But like, I kind of digged the whole spot where he's like, you know, what can you offer Karen that nobody else can? And it says Hans and Franz impression out of all things.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. I just don't know if I'll keep watching.
Yeah,
on a regular basis.
I do sort of feel like if this next episode isn't strong enough, I'll probably wait and just binge the rest of them in a couple weeks. Then again, I thought that with WandaVision. I was like, maybe I'll just wait and do WandaVision in all shot.
Down on WandaVision the first week.
And then now I'm like, it came out earlier and I didn't watch it yet. I want to know. Like, so, you know, we'll see. I can't talk too much about this, but you can. Jon Moxley, still the IWGP United States Champion. He beat KENTA.
You can talk plenty about it. He beat KENTA, and you don't know why, and I don't know why, and I'm willing to bet nobody else listening to this knows why. I'm pretty sure we all felt like, all right, that belt will go to KENTA, but I guess they got plans for Moxley.
It just seems strange. Like, you would think that they would want to have that belt back.
Moxley has said if it wasn't for COVID, he would have had like a full time run in Japan along with his AEW stuff. So who knows?
Now you said that they filmed this in California, right?
Right.
So maybe the plan is to do a lot of recordings over here, and that's how they're going to get it out of it, I guess. Because you got to assume, like, I mean, if they don't, like, maybe travel gets a little bit better, maybe it doesn't. I'm not anticipating travel's going to go back to normal this year.
I don't think anything will go back to normal this year, but then again, so many people are so apathetic. By the way, America hit the milestone of over 500,000.
Yeah.
COVID deaths, that is. And,
yeah, not even 500,000 people infected, 500,000 dead.
We're talking 500,000 dead. And I think people are desensitized, as shitty as that is to say, and it is fucking shitty to say, but I think it's going to go back to normal as quickly as possible.
And more people are doing the whole, like, well, let's open this up now. And it's another discussion for another day, but.
Oh, yeah, another show entirely. We'll see on the All Talk show.
Yeah. The KENTA thing surprises me, though. I would have thought that he would have won that for sure, if not just to get the title back into Japan and the champion to be able to defend on that ground more.
Right. I guess. at the end of the day, it is a U.S. belt, and they're like, let's try to keep it on the top U.S. guy.
So another thing that doesn't have to do with New Japan, but it's we just talk about COVID. It's something to talk about. Remember that whole story about that they were going to do those cardboard cutouts for WrestleMania?
1 second, because this is a Fightful Select, so I'm just gonna pull it up and read it verbatim. Because that's. Hey, look, I got an email from Tony. I'll say the date. Hey. This is real time, folks. Just pulling up my emails here. I do think the cardboard cutout idea would have been stupid.
I haven't seen the cardboard cutout thing, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah,
but
you don't really watch sports. Neither do I, for that matter. But whenever I've seen sports, I've seen them there, and they look like shit.
Really? I've only seen the thing with the South Park thing, because that I thought was hilarious.
At that point, just do the Thunderdome.
What was the whole plan with the cardboard cutout? Were they going to have like everybody spread out and the cardboard people in between them?
Yeah, so that's kind of how they did the Super Bowl.
So you'd like if they stood up and whatever, you'd be like, oh, okay, those people are just sitting down cardboard things.
Cardboard cut out of famous people too. Like Jericho was like, oh, I'm next to this famous person, and they had a lot of fun with it. So the report basically says there are several names pushing for the cardboard cutouts because of how full the venue will look, and there are multiple people that contacted Fightful in awe of the visuals. However, we've been told that at least initially Vince McMahon was not in favor of them. Yeah, because they look stupid. Good on Vince. This is a good one for Vince to plant his flag in.
Here's my suggestion. You ever play the game Guess Who?
Yeah. Wait, no.
Just fill it up with those. Have them go up and down.
It's the wave.
Yeah. He's like, woo! Do they have glasses on? Like, you know.
They have a WWE version of that. I want to play that one day.
Do they have that?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? We're gonna do an impromptu play the game here. I'm gonna think of somebody, and you're gonna have to toss out some yes or no kind of things.
All right.
Let me just think about which one of these couple people that I'm thinking about going with. All right, I got one.
Is this person male or female?
Well, you gotta ask, are they a male? That kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Screw it though. They're male. They'll save the effort.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, does this person wear a mask?
No.
Has this person been world champion?
Yes.
Is this person world champion currently?
No.
Is it Edge?
No.
Does this person have long or short hair?
Long hair.
Does this person wrestle wearing long tights?
No. No. Yes, he has.
Is it Drew McIntyre?
No.
Is this person blonde?
No.
Is this person on the Raw brand?
No. So at this point, half the stadium's gone.
Yeah. Is this person on the NXT brand?
Nope.
Okay, so it's SmackDown Superstar who is a male.
Oh, I didn't say that was.
Oh.
I'm just thinking about someone.
Is this person actively competing?
No.
Okay. Wait, you said that. Is this person actively employed by WWE?
No.
Okay.
Drop your comments below, everybody, before we eventually release this. I want to know if everybody's, like, at what point anybody got the answer.
Long hair.
Has wrestled in long tights. Has been a world champion. Not currently employed.
Is this person in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Is this person in the Hall of Fame twice?
No.
Oh, look, there goes my guess.
Were you thinking Hogan?
I was thinking Brett.
Brett. That could have been a lot of people then. Could have been Shawn.
So this person's in the Hall of Fame.
Booker.
He's been world champion. Has this person ever been in the main event of WrestleMania?
Yes.
Has this person ever been in a singles match of the main event of WrestleMania?
Yes.
Okay. Is it The Undertaker?
No.
Fuck.
There's only a couple more people that could possibly be. Actually, I can only think of 3 other people. No, I can actually only think of 2 other people. No, actually, 3.
So he's been in the main event of Mania. Has this person main evented WrestleMania in the 90s?
I gotta remember which ones were the 90s. I'm blanking on the dates. What's the first? What was 90?
Anything after 6.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Is it Savage?
Yeah, it's Savage.
Your apprehension to the 90s gave it away.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wait, after 6, so there's 7 of them. Like, wait, no, that's Hogan and
because the co-main event of 7 and the co-main event of 8.
Right.
He does win the world title at 8, but he only made events 4 and 5, which are in 88 and 89.
Yeah, that was the whole like, wait, wait, no. Randy Savage. The reason why I picked him is because I got that Funko Pop right above my head. So. Savage,
that was
so good.
Fun. I hate to admit how fun that was.
Imagine doing that for a quick spot at, I don't know, some kind of Guess Who thing at WrestleMania. Obviously, they would never do that, but that was a fun little aside. If you like that, check out our previous episodes of Play the Game. There's like, I don't know, 9 episodes or something like that.
Fucking hit me with Brett Colt, like fucking Bart Gunn, okay? which by the way, listen, I'll be real. That fucked with me a little bit, and then it hit me later on. Oh, Brett Colt, because Brett sounds like Bart and Colt 45. Like,
and Colt being a horse, and
I was so mad that I didn't know.
Especially since I started that, like, oh, Bart Gunn this, Bart Gunn that. All right, I'll think of somebody. Bart Gunn.
you fuck.
If I would have remembered about that, I would have gone with, all right, I'm thinking of a wrestler, and it would have been Bart Gunn just to fuck with you some more.
Good times.
So we checked off this one, that one, that one, that one. Let's talk about the TV show content of the week, which I probably should have brought up my list. I'll do that in real time as well here. But on Monday Night Raw, and for instance, we got the stuff that we were going to eventually talk about as our main event, but we decided to do the Superstar Scores thing instead. The future of the WWE Championship is lingering in the payback that Bobby Lashley is owed. Not at Payback. That's going to be a different event maybe. But he said, you have a debt that you have to pay back to me. I want that WWE Championship shot. And The Miz, which great character work, was just like, I just need more time. Just give me a little bit more time, more time, because time's good, time. Like, there's no rational reason for why he should be needing more time, but he's a slimy weasel, and that's true to character. A little bit weird that they incorporated Braun Strowman in here so that Braun Strowman could lose to Bobby Lashley and not be included in the match.
Now, it's Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania.
I mean, it seems like that's going to be, but Braun shouldn't have a reason to be upset with Shane for that. Like Shane didn't interfere and unintentionally cost him or something.
Well, they gave you the reason. I think it's stupid. I think you're stupid.
Yeah, I like that. I think you're stupid. I think this is stupid. I think everybody's stupid. Fuck everybody, kind of thing. Like
stupid. Like,
let's see, give Braun the belt. He's me right now. Just I think that this is all dumb. I hate you all. Like
I'll agree to that.
I don't know where they're necessarily going with this. If they're going to have the match next week end the way that I would anticipate should end, of Bobby Lashley winning the championship, or if they're really just going to stretch this out until Fastlane. But no Drew McIntyre on this episode, so
and
does
that
Drew?
Is why I'm 100% of the belief that Drew gets involved next week, and we stretch it out to triple threat. Unpopular opinion, I know. I read a Bobby Lashley interview today. It was Inside the Ropes, and Bobby Lashley in this interview says, listen, Brock is the dream match, and fuck The Miz, basically, but Drew McIntyre is the guy. Drew McIntyre has beaten Goldberg. Drew McIntyre has beaten Lesnar in 5 minutes. He's beaten Goldberg in 5 minutes. I want to beat Drew McIntyre. And I'm like, because he's being so dismissive of The Miz, I now want Miz to go all the way through to WrestleMania. Because I think it's a better story than anything they could tell with
Lashley and McIntyre.
And even like Bad Bunny. Like, I think Bad Bunny's fucking awesome. I think it's cool that WWE has an actual like celebrity that, doesn't, actually likes the product and doesn't want to just be there for a cheap paycheck. But this is a better story. Tell that story about The Miz making it to Mania. Hell, have him win again. Honestly, like, I know. Look, I know.
Callum shivered. I'm sure.
Yeah. Callum's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, Callum's turned off the podcast at this point. But no, like seriously, I think like let it fly.
I mean, I'm a big fan of The Miz, and as much as I would like the idea of Bobby Lashley winning the championship and all that stuff, if it happened at a different time, I'd be so much more into it. I just feel like this is a rushed, lame build to WrestleMania, and the payoff's not going to be great no matter what they do and whatever. And I'm hoping on that I'm wrong. The Braun Strowman stuff threw me off, because to me that was just like, all right, I guess they're going to put Braun Strowman in the match. All right, they're not. So then he just lost for no reason. I guess it's to put Bobby Lashley over even stronger, but it was what it was. Matt Riddle's got a name for his U.S. title. It's Travis.
Travis and Riddle. I don't know.
That's the thing.
Matt Riddle's a goof.
I like the goofy character, though. I know a lot of people don't. I like it.
Yeah, Matt Riddle has also made some waves this week, as he's kind of like, yeah, and Undertaker, wrestlers of today are smarter than wrestlers of your generation, and people have been quick to point out that he's currently being sued.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, they are smarter in some ways, for sure. Some other ways, not everybody, John Morrison's injured now based off of the match that he had with Riddle. He's got some kind of a leg injury of some sort.
Dude, that report literally said, Dave Meltzer says he hit his knee. And, like,
quality report.
Bro, like, we saw him hit his fucking knee. Like, sorry. Side note, but I think he's fine.
I hope so. I mean, obviously, I don't want anybody to get injured, but Priest beat Garza, Hurt Business beat Lucha House Party, because Lucha House Party is just there to lose to people. Randy Orton puked up black stuff. Papa Shango angle.
Hold on. You said blank, and that's great considering what we were talking about before.
Blank. Bray Wyatt said, "Don't you worry about blank. Let me worry about blank." And Orton said, "I'll vomit up blank."
So it was Monday. This is my week to not cover Raw, so I promptly wasn't. And I go on Twitter and I see Randy Orton throwing up the Venom symbiote. And my honest to God remark was, holy Papa Shango, what is happening? And like literally, it's the Papa Shango Ultimate Warrior thing.
Yeah.
And just the thing, you know what the thing that kills me about that is? You know what that angle is most known for?
The overacting of and all that.
And the vomiting and the blah, and then going, how stupid was this? And now they're like, oh, fucking, this is great.
Well, Orton should have just been doing the whole convulsing and all that stuff too. That would have been even better.
I don't know.
Best case scenario, it actually is a Papa Shango angle, and we get Randy Orton versus Papa Shango at WrestleMania.
I'm here for it, especially after watching Live and Let Die.
Yeah, then Wade Barrett can be the guest ring announcer, and he can be like, I told you all, Papa Shango's coming back. We got the end, I think, of this Lacey Evans thing, because they were like, you know what, whatever. And
we got the end of the Lacey Evans thing. I don't think we got the end of the Ric Flair thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate that this is like the 8th time that they've told the story of Charlotte needs to argue that she needs to be not in her dad's shadow.
My fucking point. That is my issue. That is my thing here. Ric Flair, who is bar none, in my opinion, the greatest overall professional wrestler ever. I watched this man cut promos for a laugh because he's so enthusiastic, and he goes on everything he can to say, my daughter is far better than I. My daughter is going to take the business to places I never could. Charlotte Flair has main evented WrestleMania, something that her dad has never done. Charlotte Flair has won 12 championships in the time frame that her father defended 2. Like, Charlotte Flair has done so much. Why are you still telling this story? Mm-hmm. Because we all know that it's sheer laziness. It's not like, oh, this is the monkey on Charlotte's back that needs to be addressed. Nah, you guys ain't got nowhere else to go.
Right. Didn't you like address this the last 5 times you've told this story? Didn't it end at different times? Does she have to, like, here's what I think they're doing. They're never going to stop doing this story until she gets to 17.
Or he dies.
Yeah, I mean, if he dies, then they can't do the story. But I think
I'm sorry. Hold on. I apologize for that.
Well, that's just the truth of it, though. Like, if he passes away before that happens, then
remember when he was dying,
right? And that became like, let's bring that kind of into the mix and turn her babyface and everything too.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna go a step further here. Do you remember when she was just Charlotte?
Right.
And then he was dying, and she became immediately Charlotte Flair. And WWE, by the way, they had this ready. Like, they had a full network special going because Ric Flair was legitimately in a coma. And it wasn't looking good. And I just can't believe that 4 years removed from that, we're like, let's tell that story again about how Charlotte doesn't want to be in her dad's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
The only legitimate gripe that they have is that one time a couple of years ago when ESPN was hyping the main event of WrestleMania, and they literally had like Becky Lynch, badass women's Royal Rumble winner, Ronda Rousey, UFC champion, WWE champion, Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. That's okay. I get it. But that was 2 years ago. You've proven them wrong too. You don't need to tell this story anymore. And my fear is that he's going to come back with, if not Ripley, another female superstar to take down Charlotte. And it's like, at this point, you don't need it. Charlotte has done it. She's surpassed her dad. You shouldn't even show them feuding as much as you do. I don't know. I don't like it.
I feel like either they specifically are the catalyst for this, or Ric Flair is the catalyst for this, and they're going along with it. The idea of what we were talking about with Big Show. They're like, they're still around. They still want to hang out. They still want to do something. But Ric Flair is at a point where he can't wrestle. He can't do that kind of stuff. So he wants to just be a part of something. And the only way that they can think of is, let's have you do stuff with Charlotte and let's tell the one story that we can't think of anything else, you know?
Why did they just keep him with Randy? That was great.
It was great. I was totally up for that because that was like, okay, well, he's a mentor. He's kind of hitching his wagon to him, but, you know, that happens.
Got 20 years of history at this point with Randy.
Which is insane.
Like,
I like that a whole lot. And then they went back to the Charlotte thing, and they didn't even fully end it either because they did the whole thing with like, you know, well, let me just do my thing or whatever. And Ric Flair was basically just kind of sitting there like, you know, I'm going to look sad and whatnot. I like how they completely wrote off a lot of the other elements, though. Like, he's like, I never said that I was the father of the kid. It's like, well, what was the whole point of the acting with the, you know, just wrestling sometimes. I just hate it so much.
I can understand Ric Flair doing the whole, woo, call me daddy. Yeah, all right. You know, but the thing was, they went to the pay-per-view and they literally had the panel discuss, well, I think it's Ric Flair's kid, obviously. It's like, what are you doing? like,
and it seems like they're going into the whole Asuka and Charlotte thing, which is like, yeah, we knew you were going to do this. Why didn't you just do it a month ago?
You should have done it at the Chamber.
It should have been Charlotte versus Asuka versus, you know, throw the bunch of other people in the mix. Nia, Shayna, Alexa, whatever.
So, we can get into this disagreement because I think this is ridiculous. I do not believe in any circumstance outside of two, Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. I don't believe that, oh, well, we need a women's elimination chamber. No, you don't. You don't. Like, look, no competitor, male or female, should want to step inside elimination chamber. Okay, that is first of all.
I like that Sasha, by the way, on that Stone Cold thing. She's like, I don't want to do a single Hell in a Cell match ever again. I don't want to
do a fourth Hell in a Cell match. You know why?
That hurts.
Because no person ever should want to step inside Hell in a Cell. This idea, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here because I've seen this way too fucking much. This idea that, oh, well, they should have had a women's chamber. Why? Because equality. Yeah, okay, here's your equality. This year, the two men's stories needed it the most. Last year, we had a fucking tag team chamber just for the sake of it. We don't need to keep bastardizing these gimmicks for the sake of it. I'm down for a women's chamber when it makes sense. This year, the men's stories just needed the chamber. They just did. It's not that big of a deal. And I don't get why so many people think that, oh, well, yeah, they should just be entitled to a female chamber. Why? They're going to get their asses messed up. Like, again, the men should not want to get into the chamber. No competitor. It's called the Devil's Playground, for God's sake. And you got, like, sorry, it's one of those things that really fucking irks me, that everybody's like, oh, well, this was a failure of a pay-per-view because there was no women's elimination chamber. No, it was a failure of a pay-per-view because the booking was bad. No, Natalia's at the $1 tier because the booking is bad. Like, you don't get to do this. You don't get to just decide that everything sucks because discrimination, and it's just like, stop!
I still maintain, I think that they should have had a number one contenders match or something, because I don't like the idea that at Fastlane they're going to go, crap, this. And then 3 weeks later, it's WrestleMania.
I agree with that. I don't like the fact right now that the SmackDown side has both of the WrestleMania main events. Do you know what that means? I mean, Sasha and Bianca probably aren't headlining one of those nights.
Well, you know what? That too. Sorry. That's something I found funny, and we got to talk about that. We're going to bounce around a little bit here and there. But on SmackDown tonight, they advertised ahead of time, Bianca Belair is going to make her WrestleMania announcement. And it's like, yeah, she's going to pick Sasha Banks. And they're like, who is she going to pick? And it's like, well, maybe the one and only person she's been interacting with for the past, 10 weeks? You didn't try at all to make it seem like she had a slight chance of doing the Asuka pick. So why should I be so like, I want to know what's going to happen? Yeah, she picked Sasha. Just announce it. You should have announced it right after she won the Royal Rumble, because she basically saying ahead of time that she was going to do that, and you had her only interact with Sasha. So
one of the best Royal Rumble announcements was Shinsuke Nakamura, because it took him 45 seconds to just go AJ Styles, and people went, "Oh shit, they did the thing that we want them to do." You knew that they were going Bianca and Sasha. I even tweeted, I'm like, I wouldn't hate it if she just goes, go with Asuka, because somebody's got to make that belt relevant. Like, you knew they were going with Sasha. And here's the thing, that's fucking awesome that 2 black women are headlining WrestleMania, because they should headline. I don't think they will now.
Well, it's also like, what's the story happening here? Reginald keeps coming out and keeps saying that she's going to lose. Why is he hanging around with Sasha?
So what is this?
I have no fucking idea.
Why is it that I just laid out? It's a historic main event for a multitude of reasons. The women have never main evented one-on-one. 2 black people, never mind male or female, have never main evented WrestleMania together. This is a historic match, and you're gonna fuck it up because you don't know how to build to 2 athletic people in an athletic contest of athleticism.
It's not like there's every element of this should work. They're both capable on the microphone. They're both capable in the ring. They're both young. They're both very attractive. They're both very easy to do, like, press and interviews and media coverage.
And like, you don't get this a lot. Their gimmicks are literally, I'm the best.
Yeah. I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. Well, I'm gonna prove it. Okay, well then I'll go fuck you up. Like,
okay, you still have, even if you get through Fastlane, I think you still have like 3 weeks. They need to get to a point with this rivalry where it's just vignettes of them training. You remember Sasha and Bailey, the Iron Man? Where
I don't remember the vignettes.
It's just them training. Do that.
Well, the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels stuff,
it's
even.
Just them training.
You know?
Brock and Brock Lesnar, it's just them training. This is that to a level that you have never had it before for the women. Please, please treat this like the contest that it needs to be. And just so we're clear, you see, you can criticize something and love something. And I love this women's division. No, I don't think that they needed to go in the chamber, but these 2 women need to headline one of the nights of WrestleMania. Period, point blank. They need to headline night 1 of WrestleMania. And I'll say this, Edge, right now, it's kind of like, it's reminding me of why I don't like Edge. As a babyface, the storyline right now is very much just like, we're gonna have a match. I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling this Bianca and Sasha thing. Get Reginald out of the way. Yes, he was fun. You're doing the thing that you do when you have a fun thing, and you run it into the ground so quick that people forget it was ever fun to begin with.
It just has nothing to do with Carmella. So, I don't know, maybe in their mind, Reginald is going to be the new... something just came in my mind, and I'm like, oh man, I wonder if this is it. I wonder if they're going to pair Reginald with Sasha. So that way they've got somebody for people to fight when it comes to Montez Ford and Bianca.
And let me tell you why this will receive drizzling shit reactions. Don't involve a man in this.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Montez Ford.
Don't involve a
Tez
man
is great. Like,
don't involve Reginald. You don't need a man in this story. You do not need a third element in this story. This is about Bianca and Sasha Banks, who are 2 of the most capable women in WWE history. let them fucking main event the show.
I thought you were going to say let them fight. I was like, Godzilla flashbacks.
I mean, let them fight too.
Let them fight. Yeah, so I thought that was funny that they're just sort of like, I wonder who she's gonna pick. It's like maybe the one that she's been hovering around. You're not getting pulling the wool over our eyes like that. But I mean, now we know.
This thing all of a sudden where now even during the television shows when they point at the sign, it's got to blow up.
I guess because you don't have to worry about pyro falling on the fans.
Yeah.
And we know that Rhea Ripley is going to be on Raw because they advertised it like 3 times.
Which is good.
Kudos to Foley for tweeting out what was essentially, don't fuck this up.
Yeah. Mick Foley is getting very like...
I love him.
Smark on Twitter, really. He's just like, yeah, don't fucking 50-50 her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just let her run through people.
Still really hoping they've gotten to the point now where they have almost no time to really build it properly, but I'm still really hoping she beats Charlotte for that title at Mania.
Yeah, and that's the only way to go.
Mm-hmm. And not that she beats Charlotte and Asuka by pinning Asuka, so that way you keep Charlotte looking strong, and then that way you do the Charlotte Flair match afterward. No, just have her beat Charlotte. Just do it, because I'm sick and tired of the company wanting to beat around the bush and then not getting around to the thing that they were trying to avoid.
I remember that thing I was talking about earlier about honesty and just saying what you need to say and doing what you need to do. That's it.
Because it's like, well, I don't think it's the right time to do 4 horsewomen against 4 horsewomen. No, now you can't.
And now you never will.
Yeah, now it won't happen. Just like you never gonna got the Sting and Undertaker thing. Just like you never had the Rock and Shawn Michaels. Just like you never had the John Cena against whoever. Just like you never had. And you can just keep going on and going on.
You never had Cena Undertaker, quite frankly.
Not in a real way, yeah, because it was like 3 years of them kind of doing the whole thing, and it's like, no, we're gonna have him in a segment with Elias. Why? Anyway, Priest beats Garza. Jackson Baszler beat Asuka and Charlotte. Naomi.
Was that the main event result there? Priest beats Garza.
No, that was I think Mansoor was on main event this week. Just like NXT guy, just put him on. All right, fine, because main event, nobody cares. Still haven't figured out how to pronounce OMOS.
What is it this week?
They were more into the Omos kind of thing. So it's been Omos and Omos and Amos and Amos and Almost and Edward James Olmos and whatever. I don't know. That was Monday Night Raw. I did like the thing with R-Truth and Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, where Truth has the referee and Priest is just like, yeah, I can see that you're there and you've got the referee, and he's like, you got me this time. Like, you got me this time, DP called him. So Charlie Caruso must have liked that. Yeah. Twitter discussions about Charlie. We're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about Dynamite, the Raw of AEW. Moxley beat the Hollywood hunk, Ryan Nemeth.
I don't get it. Yes, Nemeth. Okay, if you're a Nemeth, you can apparently sell your ass off, which is great. But Nemeth, he's not hitting it with me.
Starks and Cage beat the Varsity Blondes. There's a Sting promo with Hook in the body bag and Darby Allin ziplining down. I wish I would be like, oh my god, that's awesome.
You're no selling the fuck out of this.
Yeah, I was just like,
Sting hit a Stinger splash with a Scorpion Death Drop. I thought it was cool.
Shivani interviewed Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and Miro. They're all going to have a match. We're going to talk about that when we get to Revolution. Hager beat Brandon Cutler. Inner Circle attacked afterward. The whole Young Bucks thing and all that. MJF and Chris Jericho beat the crap out of Papa Buck.
Bro, it is so clear what show you watch on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat a Papa Buck who overacted his ass off.
Yeah. He's taking acting lessons from the Mrs. Dad.
Yeah, that was what it was. I've said this a few times. I don't take the Young Bucks seriously anymore. It's terrible, but when they try to be serious, I'm like, you're doing a bit where you're serious. Like, It sucks, but they've gone so far in that direction to me that like I don't take them as serious. And Jericho doing the whole thing where he involved their family, I don't think you needed that here. I'll go a step further. I don't think you need Jericho here. Jericho should be fully committed to the singles scene and, if not building young talent, hovering around that world title.
I just think that it's weird that we're getting this whole Young Bucks versus Inner Circle thing while the Inner Circle is feuding within themselves, while the Young Bucks are dealing with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, who Kenny Omega's with Moxley, and Moxley had a little thing with Eddie Kingston, who is feuding with Lance Archer, who is kind of feuding with the people he was teaming up with, who were part of a different crew, who, like, they really like this interwoven type of thing, and
I don't mind that because at least at any point any match can happen and it would have some kind of tie. The Jericho thing specifically is like your tag division is stacked. It's stacked, and you're like, I know, makeshift team, because we don't want to do another match with Moxley and either Jericho or MJF. And it's like that sucks. That sucks for teams like TH2 and Private Party and the teams in the tag team casino battle royal, because you couldn't just fucking wait for Double or Nothing, could you? To do the casino match. You had to do one in January or in March and then do it again in May.
Still don't know why they keep calling it casino. like you just said there, if Double or Nothing, casino battle royale, okay, it's casino, it's Double or Nothing, cool. Revolution, where's the casino theme? They love gambling stuff. I don't understand it.
I'll say this: Revolution does look like a fun card, and we're gonna review it on Wednesday, and I think it'll be one of the most fun put together cards because there is a lot of gimmick matches, and they all have their own purpose, and I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not a fan of the Face of the Revolution ladder match. I don't know why they needed to give that a thing.
I'm not bothered by it. It's a decent name, and it's a fucking Money in the Bank ladder match. I'll take it.
Are they gonna get a giant face?
I hope it's Darby Allin face.
Well, Archer's in that. He beat Phoenix. Nyla Rose beat Britt Baker, which I was surprised about. I thought that Baker would be the
mistake. Which is a mistake. It's a mistake. Give Britt Baker the belt. Give Britt Baker the belt.com. # give Britt Baker the belt. Like, I don't know. Like, what are you doing?
Since we don't know the results yet, who do you think should? Rita's still in there. I thought that she lost.
No, it's Riho versus Thunder Rosa. And
then, so who's on the Japanese side? It's Yuka Sakazaki and who was the other one?
Is it Emi Sakura?
No, I think she lost.
Is it Veni? No, it's
no, she lost.
It's Rio. It's the other Rio. It's the
Rio. Is
I'm sorry.
I'm assuming that she is the one that fights. Because she's the one that said that she was going to retire until AEW came up with this, right?
I don't give a
So I think that they said, why don't you do this? And she went, oh, okay, cool. Like, if I get a title shot and I get to go to America and I get to be a part of this roster and do this kind of thing.
Let me be clear. I think this division needs an American champion. That is not me. Somebody said in the Fightful podcast, oh, why is Rob shitting on the Joshi? I'm not shitting on the Joshi. I like Joshi wrestling. I want a champion who can start to build the division for this audience. Listen, we all like Rey Mysterio Jr. But when I say, Tony, name the most entertaining WCW Cruiserweight champion you can, if it's not Rey, who's it going to be?
Oh, there's Jericho, there's Eddie.
You said it right away. It's Jericho. Because Jericho had the character and the personality. And I just want somebody with character and personality. I don't want to see a Joshi showcase at this pay-per-view. Not because Joshi matches aren't good, but like, I just watched Jon Moxley versus KENTA, and great matches are great. Now we need to start weaving stories back into that.
Yeah, I got a feeling if it's Cheetah against Rio, or is it Rio? That's her name.
Yeah.
To be honest, I watched the first episode and I didn't watch any of the other ones since then because I was like, all right, I'll figure out who wins. Like, it's not gonna matter too much.
It's Rio, but it's probably like Rio. Like it's probably pronounced differently.
Maybe.
It's not like Riho.
I think that's gonna be the match, and I think that it's gonna be the type of thing that if you're a Smark and you're in on this kind of stuff, you're gonna go, oh my god, this was amazing, this whatever. And if you're a casual, you're gonna go, who are these two? Okay, well, it's kind of fun, and you won't care.
And they'll go, it's okay though, because men are gonna blow themselves up in the main event.
Yeah, basically. So backtracking a little bit here, we got NXT UK Tag Team Champions, new NXT UK Tag Team Champions. Good and looking one.
The
Pretty deadly.
Fabio twins have captured the NXT UK Tag Team Championship. There might not be, I took that back because Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion, but if he wasn't, I dare say there may not be a more aesthetically pleasing WWE champion right now than these two men. I don't even know their names.
One's pretty and the other one's deadly.
It's blonde Fabio and brunette Fabio.
Sam Stoker and Lois Halley.
Thank you. Okay,
don't ask me which one's which.
They look so good. I believe Howley is the brunette. They're fantastic. I don't even know how long they'll be champions. The point is, I like them because they're different. They do the Undisputed Era pose a little bit, like the Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, like, Roddy on his knees, Adam Cole behind him pose. That's weird to me just because somebody else in your company does that. But, like, these two are great. And they're heels. And, like, why would you ever want to see them get punched in the face? Like,
now, my vote for most aesthetically pleasing champion in WWE right now is Sasha Banks, but
well, obviously, I mean, I've beaten that drum, and never mind.
Insert you.
I'm just saying, like, these two guys, they got something.
Yeah, I'm glad that Pretty Deadly won. They are not. I can't tell you like, oh, it's the top 10 moves that Pretty Deadly does, but I like them enough, and I like the idea that they're switching things up a little bit. I've been saying for the longest time, drop the belt from Kaylee Ray, and Gallus has held the title for like a year or so, and yeah, I'm still hoping Meiko Satomura wins that.
If she doesn't, they've made a mistake.
We got Xia Brookside's now got Nina Samuels as like her maid kind
assistant. Of. Yeah.
So that's the second story that like is going on because they did the whole thing with Miro and Chuck Taylor. So I don't know if they had that planned at the same time or if they just didn't pay any attention. But we got William Regal's kid wrestling, Bailey Matthews.
I didn't realize how much of an American accent he has. Did you hear this promo he cut after the match?
No, I actually didn't see that.
Yeah, he's got such an American accent. It's like if William Regal had an American accent. It's amazing.
He looks like Regal.
He looks so much like Regal.
There were multiple times when I was watching that because I was still tired when I was watching it, where I was just like, man, this guy looks like Regal. And I'm like, oh yeah, because he's this fucking kid. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
looked like a real man's man.
Maybe. I think this is great. He's basically said he's gonna work his ass off till he can come back and beat Tyler Bate. I like it. William Regal's great. Hopefully his kid will get some of the opportunities that he never did.
And all the other stuff that happened is really like just meh. Like Taya Valkyrie beat Lana Austin. Whatever. Supernova Sessions coming up next week.
Tyler Bate.
Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams just being like, yeah, we want to do things.
For the first time ever, there will be a mixed tag match in NXT UK.
Is that really the first time?
Yep.
Wow.
As Piper Niven and Jack Stars take on Ginny and
Joseph Connors.
Joseph Connors, thank you.
I did like how they did that, where she's like, I want a match against them, and Oh my god, what's his name?
Sid Scala.
Sid Scala. I was like Sal. Sal Lamy. Yeah, he's like, I can't book you against the two of them, and I like that Piper Niven's just like, this guy, he's my partner. Just grabs Stars, and Stars is like, okay, I'll have a match.
I'll have a match. Yeah, I haven't been on TV.
The biggest problem I have with this episode, they're still calling him Bomber Dave Mastiff. It's friggin' Massive Dave Mastiff, damn it.
I wrote in my article, Tyler Bate has a massive challenge next week as he goes up to get Mastiff. And I was like, if I ever do like a high profile NXT UK thing, that's the first place I'm going. Why isn't he Massive Dave Mastiff?
I've typed him out as Massive Dave Mastiff in some things before, just to be like, look, I want to spread this around. This needs to be a thing.
And my fear is that they'll call him Dave Massive, and I don't want that.
Yeah, no, it can't be Dave Massive.
He's Massive Dave Mastiff.
Massive Dave Mastiff. Just do it. It's right. Like, there's no debate about this. It's right. You know.
This is the most time we will ever spend on NXT UK.
Probably.
Only because Pretty Deadly won and Massive Dave Mastiff.
Next week it'll be like either Miko Satomura won the title or she didn't. And that'll be about probably it. Let's talk about NXT. Dexter Lumis beat Johnny Gargano in a non-title match. Cameron Grimes had this thing where, since he's got all this money, that he's trying to replicate one of my absolute, if not my favorite promo / segment like that in the history of pro wrestling, is $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase getting the little kid Sean, telling him that he'll give him like $500 or whatever it was, to bounce the basketball, and he gets up to 9 out of 10 or 14 out of 15 and kicks the ball out of the way. And the kid is not a plant. The kid just legitimately is confused. And the way that he delivers the line of, Sean, we didn't get to 15. I cannot watch that still after decades and not laugh my ass off. It's so fucking good. And as soon as I saw that Cameron Grimes is watching that, I'm like, oh my god, I'm locked in on this. Like, this is going to be my favorite segment of the night by far. So he does the whole thing where he's like, if you can dribble this basketball to 15, I'll give you $1,000 or whatever. And the person dribbles it to 15, and he's just like, what happened? Whatever. And it's like, all right, give me the money. All right, fine, I'm gonna take it to somebody else. And that woman's like a WNBA star or something. She does it, gets the next one, just immediately hits the guy. Oh, you're not gonna get anything on me because I'm Cameron Grimes.
Screw you, Ted DiBiase.
You can kiss my grits. It's so bad. I love it.
On Twitter, like Virgil's like, yo, give me some money. Oh, he said something to the effect of like he wanted some of the money, and he's like, no, screw you and screw Ted DiBiase.
Cameron Grimes legitimately might be the person who's the quickest turnaround for me from being like, I hate this guy, to just being like, I love that I hate this guy.
Like, there have been instances in WWE where, like, as weird as it is, the fact that Donald Trump and Rosie O'Donnell were feuding turned into McMahon versus Trump at Mania. This has to be one of the greatest uses of outside pop culture in the world of wrestling, with this stock market ticket and to the moon. It's so fucking funny.
To the moon.
It's not great.
So it's like, I went from like, what do they see in this dude? Why are they even giving him a North American title match? To now being like, I see it. This guy's a fucking entertainer. Dexter
Lumis is on the opposite end of that spectrum for me.
Indy Hartwell thinks he saw it though.
But that's so much fun.
I did like the idea that Theory's got like a Stockholm Syndrome thing going on.
I do think it's too quick to be happening, but Indy being like, I don't know, I think he's kind of hot, and Theory being like, yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
he's a cool
he's just
guy.
misunderstood.
It's like, it's good, it helps, but I still think there's such a shelf life on Loomis's gimmick.
Yeah.
And I also, again, I don't think with the state of the world, and especially the wrestling industry, I'm not sure if a chloroforming person should be a babyface.
Yeah.
That is actually finding, women who are attracted. I just, like, that rubs me the wrong way a little bit. But, like, this was better than other weeks of Dexter Loomis.
I mean, I suppose maybe it's better if they try to play that off as like a comedy babyface thing than if it was a serious thing, because then it might be a little bit too like hitting home. But
right.
Then again, he doesn't have to be chloroforming people, so you know.
I mean, like, stuffing them in trunks, like, he does a lot of weird shit.
Which, side note, when the hell is Stranger Things coming out? Come on.
Weren't they paused because of COVID?
I don't know. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
I want to see it, goddammit. Leon Ruff was attacked by Isaiah Swerve Scott. Tyler Rust.
Attacks ever, because this man is posing like he's Spider-Man or something, and Swerve Scott is just like, no, kicks him in the head. Amazing, and Tyler Rust wins.
Yeah, Tyler Rust is just standing there and it's just like, all right, well, Diamond in the Rust. Shirai beat Zoe Stark
in a good match.
Tony Storm came out and said, you can't beat me one-on-one. That's why you pinned Mercedes Martinez, which, yep, good storytelling when it comes to that. And Shirai is going to fight Tony Storm in 2 weeks, I think it was, right?
Yep. I wonder if they find a way to get out of that one.
Seems like that's what they do these days, because they did that with the MSK thing. They're not having their match next week.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it.
Every fucking week now.
Every week now.
So that's clearly, at this point, it's not just
COVID.
It's the whole, like, once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. I think it is the quote. Like, this is a clear creative direction. They are purposely doing this because they think that it works. I don't think it does. I think it's just annoying.
They think that it works for what, Tony?
I think that they think, and I don't even know if this would, like, I'll put this out there. I think that this is what they think. I don't even know if this is what they know that they think, but I think that this is their subconscious, maybe. And if I say it, and if somebody out there is listening, and you go, no, that's not what, I would really like to hear what your reason would be for that it's not. Because I think subconsciously or just, right on the surface, they think if they advertise a match and then they unadvertise the match, they've gotten 2 weeks worth of buzz for one thing. And who cares? You're still getting the match, but we had to do half as much work because we said, well, next week you're going to get this thing. And then we can just go, oh, you know what? That thing twisted it and turned it in a different direction. You're going to get it. So now you're even more excited because now you had to wait. But we got you to be excited for that week without having to think of another whole thing.
So here's the deal. I like that strategy for once in a while.
Yeah.
Not every single fucking week.
And not for a lot of things that don't necessarily even matter, too. Like, they've done this for matches that have been title matches. They've done it for big feud type things, but they've also just done it, I don't remember an exact instance, but like they would have done it in the past for something like the Leon Ruff and Tyler Rust thing. Like
they kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. If they next week end up saying like, oh, you know what? Well, we were supposed to get this last week, but we're going to get this time. Nobody's going to care. And when it comes to the matches that people do care, you do it enough times, people are going to go, oh, they're probably not even going to do the fucking match.
Right.
So I didn't like that. I don't like that they keep doing that. Now, maybe there's a chance that MSK has, that Wesley does have an injury, and this was their way of kind of postponing it. But having the grizzled young veterans beat Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, and potentially, I guess, Wrestling veterans are going to fight for the tag titles, maybe in a replacement thing. Then why'd you have the tournament? You know, like it's just kind of, I don't know.
To build the next thing.
For a company that can plan out everything, they really don't plan out anything, and that's annoying.
I get more and more annoyed when I hear stories about like 95 and 94 when Kevin Nash would be like, yeah, you could ask Vince, what do you have planned for me in April? And he'd tell you, and it would be August because they knew.
This time frame, they're like, we don't have the rest of the show as the show's going on. And it's like, how? You had a whole week? You had a whole week at minimum. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, realistically, like, you should be building this shit.
At the end of any episode, they should know where the next episode's going. You should always book 3 weeks in advance, at the very least.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, when WrestleMania is over with, they have a game plan of where they vaguely want to go, at least to SummerSlam. But, yeah. Xia Li beat Casey Catanzaro. The referee stopped the match, and people are doing the whole thing. Is she actually injured? Is she not? I don't know.
It's Tiancha. You know, don't mess with them. You know what they need to do? And I'm not in the slightest bit being funny here. This is not like, and I'll let you actually be the judge as to whether or not to take this. It's, I want to do a Mortal Kombat style tournament where you stack Xia Li against a bunch of jobbers in like the warehouse that they were being tortured in, and you call it the Mei Ying Classic. Okay, like,
you do it around the time that the Mortal Kombat movie's coming out. I don't know.
Just do the damn thing. Am I right? Like,
can we get everybody has a gimmicky name so you can bring back? We can't bring back Glacier, but they might own something with like Mortis or something, like kind of.
I mean, like, you should do it.
Who played Mortis again?
Canyon.
Okay, that's right. I thought it was Canyon. So maybe they can like play off of the Canyon name or something, or they could just have a character named Rigger, and like, you know, have play off of like Raiden and Shang Tsung and Goro and whatever, and just.
Yeah, I want to see this happen.
I'm interested in that Mortal Kombat movie, by the way.
But
Fanboys Anonymous
content is coming your way, I'm sure, because this is a week. They got a Tom and Jerry movie out there. Can I convince you to watch that?
Probably not.
Okay, fine.
I will watch that Mortal Kombat movie, though. I'll give you that. So if anybody is interested in Mortal Kombat, we'll do a review point on that when that comes out. That's April something or other, I think, right? April like 16th or something. Yeah. And we mentioned Godzilla earlier. That's another one, too. I don't know. Fanboysanonymous.com. Check out what we've got going on. There's also Karrion Kross beating Santos Escobar in a no DQ match by pinfall. Good match. I enjoyed that.
I just love that. I love that they were legitimately just going all over the place. It felt like a fight. I like when wrestling feels like a fight these days. That's just the kind of style I'm into. Santos Escobar needs to lose that belt because he's better than that belt.
Escobar is so good. Man, let's wrap things up here with the SmackDown stuff. We talked about some of it already. Gable and Otis beat Mysterio and Dominic. I like that when they were advertising this on the website, they said that they will once again fight. I was like, you don't even care. That again. Huh?
For the first time.
For the 8th time ever or something. And they haven't beaten this down so incredibly much, but it's like a rematch. If that's one of the main things you're advertising is they're doing that again. Come on, guys. Like, just, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Anyway, Apollo Crews had an interesting promo. Yeah. He came out and he talked about something that he had mentioned last week about being from Nigerian royalty. And this whole promo was about how his ancestors were, the kings kind of in Nigeria, and that they wouldn't take this kind of crap from anybody. I think he had said like his grandfather would always say that, like, give him the steel, which like steel steps and all that. He's now gonna, I guess, do going forward more of like an accent.
So the way that was framed was he was speaking in the tone of his grandfather, and I'm kind of hoping that that's where it stays. Because if you've ever seen Booker T in TNA, where he's just doing accents for the sake of it, that's what this felt like.
This whole thing is a little bit weird for me when it's like, okay, well, Apollo's lost like 6 title matches and they're still going to switch it over. It would have been better if this would have been like the beginning of it. But you know what? He's got more character now than he probably ever has. And I like that. So I'm cool with that.
I agree.
He beat Nakamura, so that's good.
That's not good for Nakamura.
Not good for Nakamura, but good for Cruz. Street Profits beat Sami Zayn and King Corbin. Seth Rollins was furthering along his feud with Cesaro. And we kind of set something up for Fastlane, but we didn't. At the beginning of the night, Roman Reigns cut a promo about Elimination Chamber. Daniel Bryan came out, pointed out the obvious of, well, you know what? You set yourself up for something at Elimination Chamber. Why don't you actually have a match with me and silence all the doubters? Edge, to his credit, says, what the hell? Why are you getting a title match before me and stepping in the line? And they alluded to this idea that the original game plan, which is like, it's funny, WWE can't seem to book any kind of game plan, but they can book a fictional backup plan for this. Okay. Was that Daniel Bryan and Edge would have fought Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And instead, this gets switched to, if Daniel Bryan can beat Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan will get a title match at Fastlane. And it ends in a double countout. That's the end of the show. So they made it a point to say he lost, but he didn't lose. So I wonder if we're just stretching this out the next week. You know?
And Callum actually alluded to this. I don't know if we were on the air, but Edge and Christian against Roman and Jey has to be where they're going.
Well, where's Daniel Bryan in the mix, though?
Well, didn't they take him out? I saw them like beat the shit out of him.
Oh, you think they just wrote him off?
Yeah.
I just assume that was like, well, you know, he gets beaten up next week.
Bryan's been taking like every other month off, hasn't he?
Has he? I don't know. Maybe that's gonna be like he takes off Fastlane, comes back enough time to do something for Mania. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I'm cool with a tag team match. I'm cool with Bryan against Reigns match. I mean, I'm interested to see where they go, but at the same time, I really feel like there's not a single thing at WrestleMania this year that's got a proper build.
And you'd be correct, sir.
That's disappointing. Anything happened on Dark? I don't think so. No, right? No.
Dark, like, ate it? No.
Well, that's the TV of the week then, and that is all the hot tags that I've got written down. I don't think anything's happened in the meantime. Let me just do a quick check real quick just to see if anything has popped up where it's just sort of like, oh, you know what, surprise, surprise, so such and such, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
We didn't talk about this. I'll touch on it quick. Josephus, the question mark.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot to add that tag team.
He passed away.
Hot tag team.
It's a really sad thing. It's almost like very sudden, like the Brody Lee passing. He has a little one. There is a GoFundMe you can donate to if you search just the Josephus Memorial Fund, and I believe his name was Joseph Hudson. Just terrible, just really sad all around. I hate seeing these spontaneous deaths like this, and yeah, just condolences to his family, and just terrible loss for wrestling.
Well, now that's going to be a downer. How do we end this?
Hold on. All right. I don't feel right ending there. Apparently, Oliver Luck has claimed in the ongoing XFL lawsuit between he and Vince McMahon that Vince McMahon is corrupt and deceitful. Hold on. Luck says McMahon violated his duty of good faith to ensure that Alpha did not manufacture spurious or dishonest grounds on which to terminate Mr. Luck for the sinister purpose of avoiding payment of all compensation to which he was entitled upon a termination without cause. McMahon being corrupt and deceitful, that's not possible, right?
And they go to court, and the jury goes, "Did you see what he did to Austin?"
Yeah,
it was him all along.
This guy's the fucking worst.
Be like, he got out of paying McMahon's millions. It's like
he pretended to die.
Well, those are that tags. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Round things out here with just extra plugs for some things for you to be aware of. One of the things is that we are running the Smark Madness tournament. So go ahead and vote on the first part of the qualifying round for the best pay-per-view names of all time. You get to knock out some of the qualifying similar names like Capital Punishment versus Capital Carnage, or Vengeance versus Vengeance Day. I'm voting Capital Punishment and Vengeance Day, for instance. And next Thursday, I think, is when I'll roll along to the second half, where we will determine which are going to be the 32 that go into the bracket. And then, of course, we'll, do the bracket the following week after that.
I don't know if I've ever been so sure of what the semifinals will be.
It's also going to depend a little bit on the seeding. Remember.
Right.
The way that I see them is going to be based off of what the qualifying round votes are, plus a little bit of, more than likely these 4 are probably going to be the big 4. I usually try to break a quadrant down in that, and then I kind of
you need to separate the big 4 at least, because they
right.
have to be in the semifinal. Look, I'll say it right now. I don't think you're gonna find 4 better pay-per-view names than Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and I kind of think WrestleMania's gotta take it, right? It's literally the wrestling pay-per-view name.
I don't know if that's the one that's going to win, but it's one of the main ones that if it didn't win, I'd be like, what? There's only a couple that I think are really in contention, but I like a lot of other names too. I like LSL. It's a good name. I still like Breaking Point a lot. I know I'm not going to be in the majority when it comes to that, but Bragging Rights, good name.
Bragging Rights is a great name.
Clash of Champions, good name.
Clash of Champions, good name. Night of Champions, good name.
That's one of the pre-qualifying round ones right there. Clash of Champions currently winning.
I would put Night of Champions over Clash of Champions. Just because, Clash of Champions fails such a... AEW would do it because it's WCW kind of thing,
Great American Bash. I like that,
It's great, man.
And that's another one. You could vote for Bash or Great American Bash. So, click on the website. It's on the sidebar. You just click on the little thing that says Smark Madness Tournament, and it's just a Google thing. So, not much time you have to invest. Click on it and vote. And everything else that's happening on Smark on Moment, you'll find it on smarkonmoment.com in some fashion, because not everything is just on the YouTube channel and the podcast feed and everything. Obviously, there's plenty of articles and there's plenty of other things that are happening there. So not only will you find there's kind of different editorial type things, but you'll find more podcasts and stuff, like the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast. This week is going to be covering, I think it was Brock Lesnar against Team Angle in a handicap match.
Yep, it's the penultimate episode. So there's literally only one episode left of the main series. We might still do kind of recap episode, and of course there will be something regarding WrestleMania 19. Callum and I have yet to decide if we just want to watch that together and record while we're watching it, or if we're gonna watch it and then record after. But we pretty much feel like it's the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and it's a good show. and we look forward to covering it. Enjoy all the episodes in the archive. Callum works very hard. I'll say this. Like, Callum Wiggins is an underrated, undervalued mind. And I think if he wanted to devote more time to this, God knows he's smarter for not doing so. But if he wanted to, like, he could do so much good in this field because he's a very smart man. And Callum, if you've listened to this the whole way through to hear me compliment you, I appreciate you.
He's a rootin' tootin' kind of
guy. He is a rootin' tootin' son of a gun, you know, like good old Cowboy Callum Wiggins.
Definitely on the top tier of the Cowboys. Cowboy Callum Wiggins, Brett Colt.
I hate you. Brett Colt. You dick.
So what else you want to toss out?
Oh yeah, I got plugs too, don't I? Fightful.com. I'm on there every day of the week, basically. And check out what Sean's got going on at Fightful Select. Check out the Wednesday Night War podcast every Wednesday on the Fightful YouTube channel, where myself, Sean Ross Sapp, and Alex Pulowski break down all of the action on Dynamite and NXT. Check out the Fightful Twitch, twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. Check out everything and all things Fightful. Check out WrestleZone.com, their Facebook page. I do the SmackDown Double Down on Facebook and YouTube with Colin Sessier, beginning on Saturday mornings at like 11 in the morning Eastern Time. I do an Impact recap podcast. I talk into a microphone for a lot of things. and really...
A couple of years ago, I remember when you were like, hey, I'd kind of like to do this How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, like, where'd the time go? I mean, God. But I'll wrap this up because it's almost 2 a.m. and nothing good ever happens at 2 a.m. So I will bid you adieu.
We will keep rolling along here, everybody. Of course, we're going to do those kind of things. And then I mentioned before, we're going to have that Dark cast. Then next week, we're going to get into the AEW Revolution pay-per-view point stuff. So the predictions, and then, of course, the pay-per-view point post-show afterward. And other things are going to be on there. Other things are going to be elsewhere. There's things. There's always things. Lots of things. You can follow me. It's things. You can follow me at Tony Mango, at A Mango Tree, at, of course, Fanboys and Smark at Moment and everything, and see what else is happening on eWrestling News, Bleacher Report, blah, blah, blah. Especially the blah. Lots of blah. And blah, 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 blah. So we will see you next time, everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment. And blah, blah, blah. Of course, and we're being counted out.